What's up, folks? This video is not easy for me to do, but I do feel that it is necessary for me to do for everything that's going on right now in the climate, in our environment, economically, politically, socially. I do feel that it is imperative that I do speak on these things as a Black man. So for me, as most of you know, my YouTube channel really just consists of motivational videos, encouraging videos, like inspirational stuff, some of my speeches, some of the events that I put on, and things of that nature. But obviously, we are in a time of turmoil right now. We are in the midst of a pandemic. We are in the midst of protests. We are in the midst of racial tension. We are in the midst of people being hanged across the country. Like, the world is in shambles right now. And we can all probably agree that it's in shambles. And for me, I felt like it was only right to name this video from pandemic to pandemonium. When we think about a pandemic, it's normally something that will silence everybody, right? Globally, people were silenced because we were forced to be indoors. We were forced to social distance. We were forced to quarantine. So there was isolation. It was quiet outside. The streets were sleeping. Right? But just like that, at the blink of an eye, we went from pandemic to pandemonium, where it was noise everywhere, it was chaos, it was cries, it was people screaming, it was hurt, it was pain, it was murder, it was chaos. In the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye. And I believe that that shows you how quickly things can change and how quickly God can flip this thing upside down. And so for me, as a Black man during this time, I can recall this was maybe a month ago, maybe a little over a month ago. I got a call from one of my friends. I'm laying in my bed, and I think I was like reading my Bible or doing some notes or something. And one of my friends hit me. So when I pick up the phone, I'm thinking she's about to say, "Why haven't I heard from you?" She's like, "Why haven't I heard you speak out about what's going on right now? Like, what are your feelings on it? How do you feel? Have you done any protests?" And up to that point, I haven't said anything. I hadn't went to any protest. I hadn't posted anything on social media. I hadn't really done much about it because I was still trying to fill my place out within society and within my role as a leader in the community and beyond. And so initially I was thrown off. I wasn't offended, but I was a little thrown off. I was surprised. I'm like, yo, that must mean that she values my opinion, but also if I'm going to put something out, if I'm going to make a statement, if I'm going to start protesting, I need to make sure I'm doing it with the purpose, educationally, right? Not just because everybody else is doing it, but because it has a purpose behind it, because it's something I genuinely feel like I should be doing. And so I ended up actually going to a protest about 2 weeks ago, which I'm so happy I went. I feel like it's one of the best decisions that I have personally made in my life, unifying with all of those people. Obviously, I believe the majority were Black, but there was a lot of white people out there. There was Hispanics, Somalian, like there were some of everybody out there. And for me, I was very happy I got a chance to experience that and to march with the people, right? Everything was peaceful, but it's the experience, it's the fact that people are unifying because people are sick of this. And if we're going to hit the elephant in the room, obviously there has been the George Floyd killing, Breonna Taylor, Rayshon Brooks. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And then I believe in the midst of the past, like 2 weeks, we've had maybe 5 Black men hung alone. We just had a young lady in Akron who was killed. White guy just comes up and starts shooting her. I think he shot her about 8 times and killed her. She had just graduated, right? And they're ruling these things as suicides initially. I'm gonna repeat that again. For the hangings, the people who are being hanged, they're ruling those as suicides. So there was 2 in California, there was 1 in Houston, I believe there was 2 in New York, but they're being ruled as suicides. And my thing is this, that's not just a coincidence. In the midst of everything that's going on, you're telling me the people, Black men specifically, said, you know what, we're gonna go hang ourselves on the trees out here in the public. No, I ain't buying it. I'm not buying it one bit. I believe there's something deeper behind it, in that somebody or some group is doing these hate crimes to send a message, obviously. And for me as a Black man, it's like sometimes I get torn with wanting to speak up and speak out about these different things because, as most of you know, I do motivational speaking. I've preached, I've gave sermons, I do preaching and teaching. Like my voice is what holds a lot of my weight, a lot of power when I speak. So the pressure was on for me to voice my opinion or how I was feeling or my disdain or my disgust for the country, right? But also, if I'm going to speak on these issues, I want it to have value. I want it to hold weight. I want it to mean something. I don't want it to just be because everyone else is doing it. And one thing that was brought to my attention I think it was last week or maybe the week before, I was at Bible study. I was on a Bible study Zoom call with my church with New Birth. And Minister Mackey and Pastor Yavis were explaining to us, and also Sister Janice was also explaining to us that they're different. And there was another young lady on there. I think she initially brought this point up, but I forgot her name. She had took her daughter to a protest, right? Because she's like, man, I've got this little girl who's watching me. She's like, I have to be an example. I have to show her that I care about what's going on in the world, that I'm not oblivious and that I'm not ignorant to what's going on and that I'm not ignoring it. So they go down there to protest and she's like, I'm not really the one to be out there marching and protesting and rah, rah, rah. I'm not that type. But what she realized when she got down there is that there are other ways to help. There are other ways that you can be of benefit during this time of protest and of division and of racial tension in the country. And that it doesn't just have to be you speaking out or you actually marching. And so what I started to do myself was I started to educate myself online, right, about Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the massacre, the Tulsa massacre, the riots that took place, or Malcolm X, or Dr. King, or Nikki Giovanni, or James Baldwin, different things that they were saying that still relate to this day. And so what I would do is educate myself with those speeches and with those video clips and reading stuff online, and then I'll post it to my social media. But the lady who went down there with her daughter, she saw people giving out water. She saw people spraying hand sanitizer, giving out masks. So there are multiple ways that we can still be involved, even if you're not of color, you know, if you're not 100% black or if you're not black at all, even if you're not, there's still plenty of ways that we can get involved, even if you don't feel comfortable marching or protesting or speaking out on social media or speaking out in public. There's plenty of ways for you to still be involved. And so that's something that I learned too, is that just because I'm using my voice in one avenue of my life, that doesn't mean that I have to speak out on everything when it comes to the protests or the marches or the racial injustice, right? Although I'm still going to do it, but I want you guys to understand that you don't necessarily have to. There's different ways that we can get involved. You can work on getting petitions signed, starting GoFundMes, donating money, right? So there's plenty of ways that we can get involved and unify so that we can actually make some changes in this country. There's plenty of ways. And so this entire period, man, since the virus started, it's been a lot of adjusting for me. It's been a lot of sitting still, being still, listening to God. It's been a lot of mentoring, you know, getting a lot of wise counsel from my mentors and from elders, ministers, pastors, people pouring into me, and really assessing what's going on in the world right now and how serious things really are and how fed up people really are, right? People are really fed up with what's going on right now in the world, like flat out. That's just, that it is what it is. And so I've talked to people from age 40, 50, 60, 70. They have never seen a time like this. Never. We're in unprecedented times. They have never seen a time like what we're going through right now. Never. And so it's our responsibility, and specifically the leaders in the community and those who want to step out of their comfort zone and begin to lead, to do something. To do something. If you really care about the environment and the climate that we're living in and all of these innocent black people losing their lives, I mean, we saw the cops push down the 75-year-old white man, right? He bangs his head and he starts bleeding and he's just laying there on the ground. Like, people tripping. Like, when you're attacking white people, but then older white people, and there's no care in the world about their health or their livelihood, then things are getting bad. Things are getting bad. And so we have to hold ourselves accountable. We have to put on our big boy pants, our big girl pants, and we have to say, what is it that I can do to actually contribute to what's going on in the world right now? What can I do? Because we all can do something, but you need to figure out what it is that you're going to do. Whether it's sending something, educating folk on racial injustice, or starting a petition, or sending around educational clips like Malcolm X, Nikki Giovanni, James Baldwin, Dr. King, right? Sending around different clips, posting stuff to your social media, educating people on different laws, amendments, protesting, marching, going to different like meetings, body meetings, whatever it is, prayer groups, whatever it is that we need to do, understand that we can do it. We can do it. Everything matters. Everything counts. And see, this is an underlying tension, and I believe I recorded a video about this recently. That I was praying. I prayed on this, and I said that this country has a generational curse, right? Because the country was founded upon the backs of Black people. Free labor. Free labor. You use us for the labor to build the country up, but then you hate us. You hate the color of our skin. You hate the way we dress. You hate the way we talk. You hate the way we look. You hate our hair. But in another sense, you love us. You want to dress like us. You want to listen to the music that we listen to. You want to wear the clothes that we wear. You want to say the slang that we slang. You want our culture. African American culture is the most copied and the most influential culture in the world. And so in one sense, you love our culture. You love us, right? It's like, I want to look like you. I want to walk like you. I want to talk like you until the cops come. Then I don't want nothing to do with you. Until I see you on the street and your pants are sagging, I don't want nothing to do with you. Because I'll code switch and I'll call the cops on you, and the cops will come and blow your head off right there on camera. I'm gonna say that to you one more time. You love our shoes. You love the way we dress. You love our music. You love our body types. You love our women. We built the country, but yet you still hate Black people. And a lot of times Black people don't even be bothering nobody. That's the thing. I mean, listen, every ethnicity, every race has their own issues. And Black folk, we got some issues. Let's keep it one. We do. But we don't just go out in public and say, man, let's go mess with the white folk. Let's go mess with this dude for real. There's something embedded in the DNA of this country that I identify as a generational curse, because generationally it has been passed down and passed down and passed down and passed down. Willie Lynch wrote a letter in 1712 titled The Making of a Slave, where he was a British slave owner, okay? This is in a colony of Virginia. He's literally he's giving a speech to slave owners on how to make a slave. Notice I didn't say on how to keep a slave, how to make a slave. How to formulate a plan. I believe it was Carter G. Woodson that said, if you can control a man's mind, you can control a man's actions. And so they knew that if we can get into the mental, the psychology, if we can study the human behavior of these Black people, then we can control them and we can make them into slaves. None of us are naturally slaves. None of us. Not you, sister. Not you, bruh. None of us are slaves. They wanted to make us into slaves. And so what we've seen, and why I call it a generational curse, is this has carried over from generation to generation to generation. And so they believe because we made you into slaves and brought you over here in 1619, that we can treat you anyway, that your life has no value. Yet we love your culture, we love your women, we love your music. We love the way you dress, we love your influence. But your life means nothing. We'll kill you at the drop of a dime. The police officers won't serve any time. They'll get bailed out. Still got a fat pension. What is it going to take? My question is, what is it going to take for some type of justice to be served in this country? What is it going to take?